Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, September 9th. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, as we take a look at the All-Stakes Pick 4 at Kentucky Downs. It's their most lucrative day of their short meet down in Franklin, Kentucky, Jim. We'll start out in the 7th race, the Grade 3 Kentucky Downs Ladies Turf at a flat mile. As flat as it gets down there in Franklin, Kentucky, I guess, for 3-year-old and up fillies and mares. And it's a nice field here, including Miss Temple City, Grade 1 winner. Who'd you go for?
Well, I like Miss Temple City, but I'm not sure she's a single in pick 4. I think the Queen Anne Stakes over at Ascot, they took her over there, and she didn't run very well. Obviously had a real tough field, and came back and ran the matchmaker and had the lead at the top of the stretch and got beat at a longer distance. So the mile cutback is a good thing for her. She's 3 for 9 at the mile, and she's beating the boys. So she's going to be the big favorite here, but I didn't feel good about singling her in the pick 4. So there's a couple others that I think have a shot in here. Zepesa, the 4, comes out of the Beverly D and only got beat by 5 lengths and had the lead at the top of the stretch in that race as well. Got beat by Decita and Dona Bruja. So that field is much tougher than this one is, except for Miss Temple City. So I think Zepesa has a real shot with some controlling speed. And Linda, the 2-horse, has a win over the track, which is very important at Kentucky Downs. You made the comment that it's not really a flat mile. There are no flat anythings down there. It's up and down, and if you haven't been there before, some horses just don't cater to that track, and Miss Temple City has not run at Kentucky Downs. So Linda has a win over the track. Also a Grade 2 winner at Churchill Downs, where she beat Harmonize, who's come back and won a Grade 1 since then. So I'm going to use those 3 for a win bet. I'm going to take Linda, the 2-horse. If I get 5-1 on her with Ian Wilkes and B.J. Hernandez, I'm going to take a shot against Miss Temple City. That she may not like Kentucky Downs, that she may not be quite where she was last year. If she is, she's going to win this race. But I'm going to take a little bit of a stand against her.
We're on the same page. I like Linda because she likes that track. Looks like maybe she's been freshened for this spot with some good works leading up to it. And that 91 buyer last time just scares me a little bit for Miss Temple City and a new track. And they tried to enter her a couple of times at the start of the year and didn't work. Kept getting bad weather. And it just seems like it hadn't been her year. So on class, she just may be too good for him. This may be a confidence booster and she'll blow him away. But I'm going to take a stand against 2 with Linda and use those 3 in my pick 4, the 2, 4, and 5. 8th race is the Kentucky Downs Ladies Sprint. They go 6.5 furlongs. I thought this was a well-matched group, and I couldn't single certainly anybody in here. My win pick, I went for Lull. She's 1 for 1 on the Kentucky Downs surface. Clamont's really good off the layoff. Mississippi Delta I was real intrigued with, but I kind of think one of the 3-year-olds may win this, Lull or Morticia, but Mississippi Delta would probably be my next one. Corby, I think, has a shot at a price. Fair point for Shug McGahee. So I'll use all 5 of those, but my win pick's going to be Lull and probably key on her in exactas just because she's shown an affinity for that course. How about you?
We have the same theory. Lull was my second choice. She won the Juvenile Fillies here in 2016 and only lost the Juvenile Turf at Beaters Cup by 2.5, so I think she's the class of the race. But the same theory goes, she likes the track, but there's a horse in here that you didn't mention called Scattergun, the 8-horse for Neil Pessin. And 2 of the best races she's ever run in her life have been at Kentucky Downs at 6.5 furlongs. Both times this is 6.5 furlongs with a Giroux on her back. She won by 5.5 at her maiden special weight breaker here in September of 15, and then came back and won in September of 16 an allowance race, $143,000 allowance race. So she's got the speed. She loves the track, and I think anybody 2 for 2 at Kentucky Downs at this distance, you've got to throw her in there. So I'm going to get a price on her. She's 15-1 morning line. I'm going to also use Mississippi Delta. She's kept Graded Stakes company all year, and she's a defending champ of this event. She won by almost 2 lengths last year. Fair point to 2 for Shug McGahee. Lull was obviously my second choice, and Morticia, the other 3-year-old, has 3 wins in a row, including 1 over Lull. So if you like Lull, you got to like Morticia. So those are going to be my 5 in the pick 4. But I'm going to take a shot here with Scattergun, the 8 for 1.
No, anybody that likes that track, as we've said, I think that's a very valid point. 9th race, a Grade 3 Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint. This is the boys going 6.5 furlongs. Who'd you land on?
I did narrow this one down. I've got to because I'm going deep in a couple of the races. So One thing I'm going to make a statement on, and I'm probably going to live to regret it. I'm never going to lose another penny on undrafted. Undrafted seems like they always got a shot, and he's won one race in 2016 and one in 2017, and he's always around the lead, or he's always one of the favorites, but he never fires for me. So I'm not going to use undrafted, so he'll probably win. Commend is my first choice, the one horse for Bill Mott, coming out of a Saratoga 5.5 furlong sprint, stretching out to 6.5, and it looks like that he should like that stretch out. He's run a mile before, so I'm going to take him on with Ortiz up, who's ridden him the last 4 times. And Bondurant, the 5 for Ian Wilkes, has a 98 buyer, which is equal to Commend's last buyer. He's also run against better company. He's gotten beat by Heart to Heart, American Patriot, Chocolate Ride, and Kasaki. So because the company, Bondurant might be a slight favorite, but I'm going to take those 2 and take a stand there. Do a 1-5 exacta box. Not going to use undrafted. The other horse in here that's got a real shot is Hoagie. Disappointed at odds-on favorite last time out, and if he couldn't beat 5 horses at Saratoga in a 5.5 furlong race, I don't know that he's going to take this one. So we'll play a little bit against Hoagie and a little bit against undrafted. So Commend and Bondurant are my choices.
Commend is my win pick in here. I just like that steady improvement. Looks like he's in peak form. And then I'm torn. I had listed Bondurant first. I go back and forth between him and undrafted. And the only reason on undrafted is just that I think he's, he runs a lot. He's a turf sprinter, and he doesn't get to run 6 or 6.5 very often. And getting to run 6.5 intrigues me here. And Wesley Ward usually, I think, points to this meet. So I'm torn between those 2. Commend's the win pick. I'll use both of those 2 in exactas. Probably box those 3 in an exacta box. As far as the pick 4, it'll be kind of a budget thing, and I think I'm going to give a slight edge to Bondurant, but it's close between him and undrafted for me. So it'll be when we get to the pick 4 ticket, a budgetary issue there. How deep you want to go? The 10th race, Grade 3 Calumet Farm Kentucky Turf Cup. I went with Enterprise, lifetime best off the layoff last time for Proctor. And Corey Lannery sticks with him. I like riders who know this course and have done well on it before. So a slight edge over Oscar nominated, who's won here, which obviously we talked about that angle before. So between those 2, but for my pick 4, I think I'll also use Postulation, the 1, and Mutasser, if that's how that's pronounced, the 3 for McLaughlin. But Enterprising is going to be the narrow win pick over Oscar nominated in the Kentucky Turf Cup for me. How about you?
We're either going to have a really good day or a really bad day, because we're pretty much on the same horses today, and that doesn't happen very often. But maybe it's a good sign. I thought that Postulation, the 1, has a real big shot, exiting the American St. Ledger at Arlington. The Arlington horses, at least the first day, ran pretty well here. Arlington horses kind of get a bad rap, but if you come out of a graded stakes race at Arlington, you're a pretty good horse, and that St. Ledger was run on Arlington Million Days, so I think Postulation certainly fits here on class. And I'd use McTosser for McLaughlin. I'd use Oscar nominated, obviously, who's won here before, for Mike Maker, the 4-horse. Enterprising has got a real shot, only got beat 3/4 in Arlington Million, another Arlington horse coming down here. And then the other horse I would mention that you did not is Taglebe on the outside for Maker. So coming out of the American St. Ledger, got beat by Postulation, had a little bit of a wide trip, and has the ability in his back races to compete here and gets Ortiz. So I'm going to go 5 deep here, but Postulation would be my win pick, Enterprising and Oscar nominated below that horse.
Pick 4 tickets, starting in that 7th race. I'm going to use Linda, Zapesa, and Miss Temple City to start it off, 2, 4, 5. I'm going to go 4 deep in the ladies sprint, Lowell, Morticia, Mississippi Delta, and Fairpoint. I'm going to go Commend, Bondurant, and Undrafted. I'm just going to use all 3 in the turf sprint. And then in the turf cup, I'm going to use all 4 of the ones I mentioned, 7, 4, 3, and 1. It's a little pricier than I usually like to give out. If you want to pare it down, then I would say maybe make a decision between Bondurant and Undrafted as your second horse in that 3rd leg, and that would pare it down significantly. How about you?
Okay, my pick 4 is first leg is 2, 4, 5, Linda, Zapesa, and Miss Temple City. second leg, going 5 deep with the 1, 2, 5, 6, 8 Mississippi Delta, Fair Point, Lull, Morticia, and Scattergun, with Scattergun being my top choice there at 15-1. In the Turf Sprint, Commend, the 1, and Bondurant, the 5, taking a stand on those 2 horses. And then last leg, I'm going to spend $75, so I've got 5 horses to play on. I've got Postulation, the 1, Mugtaser, the 3, Oscar Nominated, the 4, Enterprising, the 7, and Taglib, the 11. So that's 3 by 5 by 2 by 5 for $75.
You are not surprised that the fields are so well matched. Try that again. Not surprising that the fields are so well matched when the money's as good as it is for the short meet down there. So it's just really hard to narrow down these, pick 4 tickets and take strong stands. So, just encourage folks to, take your best shot. And if you can find somebody you can single on, that really helps. But neither Jim nor I could do it. Yeah,
it's hard to find. You look at 12 and 14 horse fields, it's tough, and they are well matched. And a lot of money being given away. The maiden special weight races are $130,000. So a lot of guys taking shots down there. This 5-day meet. Anything
special going on for simulcast customers or Keeneland Select?
We'll be featuring Kentucky Downs on the weekend. It's pretty much the best racing this weekend. You've got the Super Derby going on at Louisiana Downs, and that's a nice card down there where I think they got 4 stakes races. We're open late every night for Mountaineer and Evangeline Downs and the late tracks, and there's harness racing, live racing going on at Red Mile, which a lot of people forget about here in Lexington especially. It's a great atmosphere at Red Mile now. It's you can walk out from simulcasting, watch the live harness races, come back in, play the instant racing machines on the first floor, get something to eat, something to drink. It's a night's entertainment, and not too long from now, and the latter part of September, is the Grand Circuit at Red Mile. So the best horses in the country will be competing at Red Mile the last 2 weeks of the meet.
Best of luck with your wagers for Saturday at Kentucky Downs or wherever you're playing. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach, and this is the In the Money Podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.